You ever notice how sometimes people who are really
Yeah?
smart make some really poor decisions?
Oh, totally. Like they have high IQs but lack common sense.
Exactly. That's what Daniel Goleman explores in his book, Emotional Intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. So it's like being smart about your feelings?
Well, it's about understanding and managing emotions, both yours and others.
Right.
Goleman argues it's as important as IQ.
That makes sense. I mean, you can be a genius, but if you can't handle stress.
Precisely. He mentions how emotions can override rational thinking. Ever heard
Mhm.
of an amygdala hijack?
Amygdala hijack sounds intense.
It is. It's when our emotional brain takes over and we react without thinking,
Oh,
like when
wow.
someone loses their temper suddenly.
So the amygdala is like our emotional trigger?
Exactly. It's the part of the brain that processes emotions.
Right.
It can make us act before the rational brain kicks in.
Kind of explains road rage, doesn't it?
Yes, those split-second reactions.
Yeah.
Without emotional control, things escalate quickly.
So emotional intelligence helps us manage that?
It does. It starts with self-awareness, knowing what we're feeling,
Okay.
then managing those feelings appropriately.
But isn't it hard to be aware in the heat of the moment?
It can be, but with practice, it gets easier. It's
Right.
like building a muscle.
Interesting. So what's next after self-awareness?
Self-regulation,
Hmm.
being able to control impulsive feelings and behaviors.
Like taking a deep breath instead of yelling back?
Exactly. It gives us
Yeah.
a moment to choose how to respond.
I've heard about that. Counting to 10, right?
Yes, it's simple but effective. It activates the rational brain.
So emotional intelligence also involves empathy?
Definitely. Understanding others' emotions is crucial.
Right.
It helps in communication and relationships.
You know, I once read about people who can't express or recognize emotions.
Oh, that's called alexithymia.
Mhm.
They struggle with emotional awareness.
That must be challenging socially.
It is. Without recognizing feelings, relationships can suffer.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence helps bridge that gap.
So does Goleman suggest we can improve our emotional intelligence?
Yes, he believes these skills can be learned and developed.
Okay,
It's not fixed like IQ is often thought to be.
that's encouraging. So practices like mindfulness can help?
Exactly. Mindfulness increases self-awareness.
Right.
It helps us tune into our emotions without being overwhelmed.
But what about when emotions are overwhelming, like in anger or anxiety?
Goleman talks about managing those too.
Mhm.
Techniques like reframing thoughts can reduce intense feelings.
Reframing thoughts? How does that work?
It's about changing our perspective.
Okay.
Instead of thinking, this is terrible, we might think, what can I learn from this?
So it's shifting from negative to more positive or neutral thoughts?
Exactly. It lessens the emotional impact.
You mentioned anxiety. How does emotional intelligence help there?
By recognizing the signs early, we can
Yeah.
use relaxation techniques to calm ourselves.
Like deep breathing or meditation?
Yes, those are effective. Also, focusing on the present moment helps reduce worry.
I can see that. Worry is often about the future, isn't it?
It is. Bringing attention back to now can break that cycle.
Right.
It's a practical application of emotional intelligence.
You know, I sometimes struggle with staying motivated. Does this relate?
Absolutely. Motivating oneself is a key component.
Okay.
It involves using emotions to reach our goals.
So like channeling passion into action?
Exactly. It's about persistence and optimism.
Yeah,
Seeing setbacks as temporary.
that sounds helpful. I'm curious though, can too much emotional intelligence be a bad thing?
That's an interesting question.
Right.
I think balance is key. Overanalyzing emotions could be overwhelming.
So we need to be aware but not obsessed?
Precisely. It's about understanding, not overthinking.
Got it. How does this all affect our relationships?
In a big way, good emotional intelligence enhances empathy and communication. It
Mhm.
leads to stronger connections.
I've noticed that people who listen well have better relationships.
Yes, active listening is part of it.
Yeah.
It shows you value the other person's feelings.
Do you think emotional intelligence should be taught in schools?
Goleman certainly does.
Right.
Programs on social and emotional learning can benefit kids immensely.
It could reduce bullying and improve cooperation, right?
Exactly. It fosters a healthier emotional environment.
But do schools have the resources for that?
It's a challenge, but the long-term benefits are worth it.
Yeah,
Emotional skills are essential for life.
I agree. Emotions impact so much of what we do.
They really do. Understanding them can improve not just personal life, but professional as well.
Speaking of professional life, how does this play out at work?
Leaders with high emotional intelligence tend to manage teams better. They navigate stress and motivate others effectively.
I've had bosses who were brilliant but terrible with people.
Exactly. Technical skills aren't enough. Emotional connection matters.
So companies should value emotional intelligence when hiring.
Absolutely. It's becoming more recognized as crucial for success.
You know, some people might think emotions interfere with logic.
That's a common belief, but Goleman suggests they complement each other.
Oh,
Emotions can guide better decision-making.
really? Can you give an example?
Sure. Gut feelings often reflect our emotional intelligence at work. They can
Right.
steer us toward better choices.
I guess our intuition is informed by emotions.
Exactly. It's our experiences and feelings guiding us.
That changes how I view decision-making.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Embracing emotions can enhance our logic, not hinder it.
Well, this has been enlightening. I think I'll pay more attention to my emotions now.
That's a great step.
Mhm.
Emotional intelligence is a journey worth taking.
Agreed. Thanks for sharing all this.
Anytime. It's been a pleasure discussing it.